How y'all doing today?
Great. How are you, Mike?
Good.
All right, Mike, phase 3, y'all in now. What's been kind of the mood you've been in as you get into this phase 3 of this offseason?
Excited. We get to be out there against the defense, working real football, not just routes on there and stuff like that. But just super excited, can't wait for this season. So,
what do you think you've grown the most from obviously coming off your rookie year to now having a full offseason as the guy?
I'll just say it's a couple things, but the one thing that I want to point at is like just connecting with the guys. I feel like I've done a lot better with connecting with everybody around the team, not just offensive guys but defensive guys as well. Whether that's just doing stuff around the facility, eating lunch, or going out playing golf or something with them. Don't ask about my golf game, but yeah, man, just connecting with the guys.
Mike, how would you describe your leadership style?
I like to get to know my teammates. I feel like you can't lead nobody whenever you don't know them. I feel like you got to build relationships, and for me, I want to get to know those guys so I can, know who can take certain leadership styles. If it's like verbal, like right there in the moment, or if it's pull you to the side, like just understanding those guys and just having that relationship built with those guys.
And going off of that, how do you want to grow in that leadership throughout this season as you kind of acclimate to your teammates and what they adapt best to?
Hanging out with them more. That's it. Just hanging out with them more outside of the football. So.
How do you build those relationships with your teammates?
Sometimes you gotta get outside of your comfort zone. Some guys might do things that you don't necessarily like to do, and some might. Just finding ways. If it's anything, like I said, golfing, fishing, like whatever those guys like to do, just find those things and be around them.
I know you normally like to stay at home. You just kind of stay to yourself. But is it different moving through this time of the year where you're going to be the guy going into the year and you're the biggest name in the city, obviously?
I still be home. Yeah. I still be home, bro.
How do you grow that camaraderie with your teammates like Darnell when you refuse to listen to his music style?
I don't refuse. It's a little different than mine, but I don't refuse. I'll listen to it, but in the back of my head, I'm probably like, turn it off. But it's cool, though.
Hey, Mike, has there been anybody past or current that you kind of lean on this offseason to kind of help you through the phase you're going through now as being the guy?
Yeah, my teammates, my family. I know Rob mentioned, spoke to Matt Ryan. Had a good conversation with him. Just learning how to be a pro. Each and every day, and how his process went, and how he went about his business each and every day. So I feel like he definitely gave me a lot of good things. So.
How's your chemistry building with Darnell specifically going?
Oh, it's been great. He's a guy that's willing to work all the time. And I appreciate those type of guys. Always willing to do the extra or hit my phone and say they want to throw. So he's always willing to work. So it's been good and it's been growing. And he's a good dude too. So.
What separates him as a receiver?
I'll say just his ability to get open. He can do a lot of things at that position. It's hard to cover him one-on-one, so anytime we get those opportunities, we got to take advantage of it.
I got another leadership question for you. Is there any quarterback that you kind of model yourself after, leadership-wise, or somebody that you admire, their leadership style?
No, not exactly. No, not exactly. Not exactly.
You mentioned the conversation with Matt. What was the premise of that conversation?
Yeah, just learning how to be a pro. Obviously he knows this is my second year. Coming into it, obviously my first year starting, he talked to me about his times during that time and how he got to where he ended up. So just those type of things, building blocks and things that I needed to hear that I probably want to hear from other people, but hearing from somebody that actually was in this position, doing it at a high level. So that was big time.
What stood out to you most about that conversation?
His willingness to be open with me. I feel like he didn't have to give his time to me to talk to me and pour game into me. So just him being open and being present in the conversation, it was definitely a blessing. So.
And then Mike, Coach Morris talks about your intellect, your mental astuteness. Can you just talk about that aspect of the game and just like the mental aspect and part of it?
It takes time. It don't come overnight. It take time. It take a lot of play time. You gotta be in the game to learn a lot of things, and obviously film study, off the field stuff. All that stuff take time, but it grows. You get out of it what you put into it. So.
Mike, what do you get out of those two games you played then to last year?
You said, what do I?
What do you get out of that? I mean, obviously it was good experience, but is there anything you kind of get out of that?
I just got my feet wet, man. Made me excited, just ready for this year, So.
Was there a different approach this year coming into OTAs than it was last year?
Nah, the goal always to win. It don't matter, no matter how we do it. I'm part of this team. I was part of this team last year. We want to win, so.
Mike, going into this second year, you got a different voice, obviously, being the guy. What's that communication been like with Zach Bader? Say, you know what, I like this stuff, I like that, I don't like this. What's that communication been like with him?
I mean, it's good. Obviously, offensive coordinator, quarterback, y'all got to be on the same page, me and Z-Rod, we definitely been on the same page, just picking each other's brain on stuff we like, stuff we don't like, different things we see on the field. So it's been good. It's been growing. Obviously, it's going to continue to get better each and every day. So.
Have you had a chance to throw with Kyle much this offseason?
Yeah, I did. I threw quite a bit with Kyle. Looking good.
That's good.
Yeah.
And Mike, what would you say is something that really jumps off the page about this receiving core this year?
The depth. I feel like we got a lot of guys that can do it at a high level. Obviously, we got the starters that's doing it at a high level, but we got guys behind them that can do it at a high level as well. So the depth, definitely.
What's it been like working with DJ Williams? Like so much last year, and then also in his new role this year.
Yeah, man, it's been good. That's my dog. Like, I could be open with him. He'd be open with me. He'd be hard on me. But like, it's been a good relationship. Just building each and every day off of that. So.
Anything else?
Great.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Hey, Darnell, what are you looking to get out of the first few days of OTAs?
Just to get them moving around, get acclimated to everybody being in the huddle, getting out the huddle fast enough, and just understanding the beginning of the play and all that.
Does it take a lot to get acclimated the first day?
No, actually it's like you have to slow yourself down because you want to go so fast and just get things rolling, but you have to understand you got to start from square one again. So.
What kind of expectations are you already setting for yourself year 2 in Atlanta?
Nothing right now. I'm just trying to figure out what we can do best in OTAs, figure out our identity again, and figure out what we can do best. So.
How did you self-scout your season last year then, thinking back on your performance?
Just look at the things I did well, look at the things I didn't do well, and see what I would do to myself if I was guarding myself, and try to pick it up off that.
Can you give some examples of what you did well and what you want to improve?
I did pretty well with, the deep routes. And the biggest thing what I want to do is catch the ball and take something to the crib, make at least 3 people miss, have some exciting plays.
Raheem talked a lot about building confidence in Michael to basically step up and be more of that leader now. I know it's super early, but where would you like to see him grow a little bit as someone who's going to work a lot with him, and maybe where he's done extremely well to this point?
I think he's been doing well, owning what that he's the guy, and that he's going to be the guy. So, he's doing a good job of just, showing up every day. So, continue to just show up.
As a quarterback and with that leadership, does he have a different swagger about him? Because Raheem kind of referenced that he has a more unique leadership style than maybe some other guys he's worked with.
He's more, quiet, and he can play around a little bit, but he's really just a chill guy, and he's just vibing for sure.
On that note, Coach mentioned that he's sort of finding his voice. What have you seen from that aspect?
Me and him, we go back and forth about music. He has a different music taste than I have, but pretty much that's our little competition right now. And he's being more vocal with that than he was before. Last year, he was just a quiet guy, really not saying too much. He's still a quiet guy now, but he's saying a couple more things. So.
What are those tastes?
He has just one brand, and it's like hip hop. I'm a all around genre guy, so. He doesn't really like when I play something, out of his genre.
How would you rate his dancing skills? I saw him dance.
He's from Florida, so all the Florida guys, they got pretty good dancing skills. So except for Ray Ray, I don't.
You got near 1,000 yards last season, which you hadn't done since your second year. Is it kind of like almost a career resurgence for you here?
I didn't really come here for 1,000 yards. I came here to win. So for anybody that's like creating that as a top tier for a receiver or something, that's not what came here to do. I came here to win games. So yeah.
When you're looking at Mike, what do you think are some of his top qualities or attributes that make him who he is?
The deep ball. He throw the ball very, very far. He has a strong arm, and he can get it out whenever he needs to. Like if he feels like he's late, he won't be late. He can get the ball there in time. So.
What's that communication like between you guys, especially in play, out of play? So you guys looking at the screen, trying to go through it. What's that communication like?
It's very well. It's some things that he's learning now, and last year from me either talking to Kirk or now I'm talking to him. So it'd be like it can be some, hey, well, what'd you think here, or what did I think we could do better here? So it's just a conversation and just communication.
Have you learned more about yourself in Atlanta than in Chicago then?
I did learn a couple of things. Well, I was in my villain era last year, and y'all gave me the good guy award, so that didn't work out too well for me. But other than that, I'm grateful for Raheem and them. They just allow me to be myself, so and I can do that, and I'm happy where I am. So.
Thanks, Darnell.
Thank you.
He was talking about how he's been around a lot of different quarterbacks with different leadership styles. He says Michael Penix got a different leadership style, obviously, than other quarterbacks. You've been around a lot of quarterbacks. How would you describe Michael Penix's leadership style from what you've seen?
Very reserved. He's not the most talkative guy, but man, and it's funny that when he got that start against the Giants last year, it's like right when he got in that huddle, it's like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to get it done. He's here, to be the leader of this offense. So that goes without question. But very quiet guy off the field, but jokester, funny guy, has a good time. Great dude. Someone you want to do well for.
Can you say he's already one of the leaders of the team, or is that still evolving?
Yeah, I think. Shoot, everything's always evolving, but he's definitely one of the leaders, and he's proven that. He's got obviously you're the quarterback of one of 32 teams. There's a lot that comes with that, and he takes a lot of pride in that. And just personally, I'm just trying to let that guy make plays and do my job.
One thing Raheem was saying, I asked him how he'd gotten better as a coach or wants to be better. He said recognizing problems earlier and figuring out solutions, kind of over the course of the season. Is that something you could see? We pinpointed this and we got better as a result of whether it's the run game or whatever it might have been.
Yeah, I think he's spot on. That really is the name of the game, because you start, as OTA 1, everything. You feel like everything's going to go perfect, and immediately, even in this first practice, we got to tweak things and fix them. Which team is the best at doing that? Can adapt and make the changes, because it's an ever evolving. We talked about how much the league's changed since I got into it. It's always evolving. It's always, there's a new style. Something starts to work and takes off, and then defenses figure out how to stop it, and you're on to the next thing. And then, I think I agree with him. Specifics, the first thing that pops in my mind is every week the way we install our run plan, and okay, what worked, what didn't work, what do we just need to tweak a little bit, and then we think it'll work, what do we need to scrap. That's the majority of what we're talking about in our line room.
Jake, do you find that is the frequency of evolution that happens inside of a season one of the biggest ways in which the game has evolved since you've joined the league?
Very broad question. I'm trying to think how I can...
teams, it seems like there's more adaptability week to week and maybe less kind of here's our identity, and then you get one bye week to maybe change and tweak things. Yeah, it seems like that's happening on the fly a lot more.
In a way, I think I can see that. Definitely a lot of more different motions and formations and I'm trying to think back to my rookie year. Obviously, you got coordinators and different schemes and whatnot, but I think there's a lot more stuff you're seeing now, a lot more complicated. I'm trying to speak very broadly without giving anything away, but I agree with what you're saying. Yeah. Without my son.
More important things.
Yeah, go spend some time with.
He doesn't care about this interview.
Thank you, Jay.
All right. So just talk us through OTAs for a couple of days. What's it been like?
OTAs is a process, specifically for me, learning the offense, just building a rapport with the coaching staff, with my teammates. But I feel like we had a good, clean day. There's a couple guys on the ground. We don't want to be on the ground in OTAs right now. But I feel like guys are moving. There's a lot of communication going on, and I feel like that's what this time of the year is about. Especially we're learning a new defense. Guys getting on the same page, getting used to playing with each other. Pause. But also just, like I said, being on the same page, just building that chemistry.
How important is your relationship with Marquise Williams kind of to ultimately come down here and join Atlanta?
I mean, that's my guy, man. I spent, 2-3 years with Keith in Detroit. Just to be out here and get to work with him again. We have a really good relationship. Even when I was on other teams, we still communicated, joking with each other. But just to be on the same team again, working together, we got a good relationship. But also, they brought me in here to kind of be that veteran. I've been around a little bit, so kind of just free game for all the young guys. Just kind of show them the things I've learned along the way. But I feel like I got a lot of football left in me, and I'm just excited to work with Keith again.
What is kind of your approach as a leader? Are you kind of, hey, I've got the information, if you want to come seek me out, or do you take a little more of a hands-on and assertive approach?
Yeah, kind of like you said, hands-on, assertive, but I'm also not one of those rah-rah guys. I'm pretty mellow, pretty low-key, but if I see something and I feel like I have, a good understanding, or I've had a lot of experience doing something, I'll put one of the young guys aside, but hey, like, trust yourself, run this route, like, you strong, like, type of stuff like that. Like I said, I'm not one of those rah-rah guys, but, I like to give guys free game, just things I've learned from, vets in my time. I had a lot of good vets growing up in this league. You meet a lot of good people. You play with a lot of good players in this league, so just picking things from their game that I could pass down to other people. That's what it's about.
Was there anybody that was particularly impactful in terms of a mentor?
I played with Marvin Jones Jr. for 6 years. Guys like Muhammad Sanu, who was here for a little bit, he was in Detroit. Danny Amendola, who came from New England when I was in Detroit. He had some Super Bowls under his belt. I learned a lot from him, especially since around that time I was transitioning from DB to receiver, so I was asking him tons of questions. I was always asking, like we called him DA Amendola, like why did you do this? Why did you do that? And then Sanu came like mid-season, and I was learning all his releases. You know how he gets, man. Yeah, Sanu was a good dude, but even like I said, Marvin Jones, I learned so much from him. So it's being a young player in the league. It's nothing wrong with asking questions, especially the guys who have been in the league for a while. So I always encourage that, I got free game. I've learned a lot of things. I've experienced a lot of things in this league. So I'm just here for them.
How would you describe the culture here? Everybody talks about love playing for Raw and his kind of joyful nature. How would you explain the culture here in Atlanta since you've been here?
I've only been here a short time, and I'm loving it. Raw is just he's one of those guys you wanna go hard for. He's light mannered. He's gonna always keep the mood light, but when it's time for business, it's time for business. And you love coaches like that aren't super serious all the time, but at the same time, he knows it's a business and he knows it's a results-based business. So you gotta be locked in when it's time to be locked in. But when you got the freedom to mess around, crack some jokes with people, it's nothing better than the leader of the team who's loose like that. And I say that loosely just because Raw's about business, like I said, but he also keeps the mood light. He's cracking jokes, and that just trickles down to everybody else. And like I said, I've been here a short time and I'm loving it so far.
What have you seen in your limited time here from Michael Penix that you say this guy has what it takes to be good in this league?
He's just got that quiet confidence. They always joke around Mike don't talk much, and I'm starting to realize that. But he just got that quiet confidence, and it's nothing arrogant. He just knows how good he can be, and he knows he has so much room to grow. And he just out there slinging it, and it is different because I haven't played with a lot of left-handed quarterbacks, so that ball spins a little bit differently off of his hand. But the sky's the limit for him, and I'm excited to watch him grow into a leader and then the player he could be.
Does that spin something you have to, how much actual adjustment do you have to do to get used to having it coming out of the left hand and spin in that direction?
It takes a little bit. It's just reps and different angles because there's a lot of different routes you could run. The ball is different. I kind of compare it to, catching a punt from a left-footed punter. So it's not too bad of an adjustment for me, but It's definitely different because he throws that thing with some zip. So yeah, I remember my first week here, we were just running routes on air, and they're like, yeah, when Mike throws that, you better be ready because he can throw it with some zip. But yeah, it's a little bit of an adjustment.
What does he do that makes you use the term quiet confidence?
He just doesn't. He don't talk that much. He's not one of those loud people. He kind of not keeps to himself, but he's kind of just laid back. But you can just feel, all the kids saying aura, whatever you call it these days. He just got it. Like, you can just see him walking around, and you can just tell that's a confident dude. And he goes out there on the field and shows it. He's not out there talking loud. He's not one of those loud dudes talking all the time. But he goes out there and he does what he does.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate y'all.